You have progressives who are saying, where has this White House been in terms of really speaking to the base? Recently, the president's been doing lots of black radio. He's been out talking to columnists, talking to bloggers, Hispanics as well. And I want to play for you some of the comments on our show last week, where some of our panelists discussed this whole issue in terms of outreach to African Americans and get your response. Here was last week's show.
Have they made a mistake in not doing this throughout the last 2 years? And the answer is emphatically yes. Not only have they made the mistake with young voters, they've made the mistake with African American voters.
This was a president that says this was a campaign not about me, but about you. This was the president that invigorated that youthful optimism that we haven't seen in this country since 1960. And then what happened? After the election, they all went away.
You want to feel something different. And that's what I think everybody thought. This man being elected president is going to make things different.
I think the president had certain, quote unquote, folks around him, white and black, who told him, don't get too close.
What do you make of that?
Well, I disagree. I think the fact of the matter is the president, since he took office, has been focusing on the issues that he heard about over the course of his life, beginning when he was a community organizer, and he saw the frustrations of people who lost their jobs when the steel mills closed in Chicago and how they wanted government to work for them. All of the stories he heard during the course of the campaign about how it was important the government be accountable to the American people and not to the special interest groups. And so if you look at what he's done since he's been president, it's certainly reflected in the priorities that he has been absorbing over the course of his life. And so everything from jump-starting our economy to try to make sure that people have job opportunities, education. This president has done more to transform our public education than any president in our nation's history, focusing on making sure that community colleges are affordable and that people have Pell Grants so that they can go to school, and that we're working with the private sector to make sure that when you finish school that there's actually a job waiting for you that you're prepared to take so that the United States can be globally competitive and our young folks are going to be able to come in #1 compared to any other country. And there's a lot of competition out there around the world where they're putting great resources into educating their young people. We need to do the same. And so I think if you look at what the president has done since he's taken office, what he has done has reflected everything that he's heard along the way. So we have certainly stayed engaged.
But isn't that, though, because first of all, what you laid out really is the policy aspect of it. But when you look at the numbers in terms of young voters, when you look at the case last year when it came to New Jersey, Virginia, Massachusetts, when you look at the enthusiasm gap that exists now, the feedback has been that there's not been that constant interactiveness, if you will, in terms of engaging the audience, talking with them, bringing them along. And so that really was a sense that the panel was talking about, not the policy, but really the engagement with them, saying this is where we stand in terms of, and pulling them along and asking for their help and their involvement in it as well.
I will say this to you, Roland. I think that the president enjoys it when he's outside of Washington and not inside of Washington. And going forward, he will be spending more of his time out on the road. And there isn't every month that's gone by where he's had to be in Washington in meetings trying to sort through these policies you referred to. He's always said, I would really much rather be out with the American people. And I think that is important. And I think going forward, we will be making that more of a priority, because it is hard to keep that enthusiasm going all the time if you're not out on the road. And so it is a valid point.